Yes, queen! You guys probably can't tell, but this is actually a crop top. I figured it was fitting given the content of the movie that I'm talking about today. Boys in the band, gay movie, crop tops. Yeah. Yes, I like to wear crop tops around the house. I am that gay, and I will only have the stomach for it for a few more years, so I'm making the most of it. One thing that you guys would have heard me say a lot during 2020 is that when it comes to Ryan Murphy produced content, it's massively hit or miss. During 2020, we have been given a smorgasbord of content from Ryan Murphy on Netflix. Some of it worked and some of it didn't. Circus of Books, hit. Hollywood, miss. A Secret Love, hit. Ratched, miss. Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for all the entertainment that we had during lockdown, but I was hoping and praying that The Boys in the Band would be a hit. And hallelujah, darlings, it is in fact a home run. Let's talk about The Boys in the Band. Before we get started, guys, I just want to clarify why I sound so groggy. I'm actually a little bit sick. I'm full of cold right now. Don't think it's COVID, so don't panic. You're not going to catch anything through the screen. It's just a terrible cold, terrible chesty cough. So that's why I sound so bad. I've got my lemon and honey tea right here, so bear with me, alright? If you guys are new to the channel and want more movie and TV related content just like this, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you like the video, please hit that like button. And if you want to follow me on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, or Letterboxd, it's all in the video description down below. I've been told I make a lot of fabulous content. So The Boys in the Band has had an interesting journey. It was originally a stage play written by Mart Crowely back in 1970, which was a surprise smash hit because of how unapologetically it presented gay men's lives. In 2016, Ryan Murphy bought the stage rights to Crowley's play and then made a revival of it and asked Joe Mantello to direct the play. He then hired a feast of gay actors to play the 9 gay characters. Some of them were household names, including Jim Parsons from The Big Bang Theory, Zachary Quinto from Star Trek, and Matt Bomer from White Collar. And this 2018 stage revival ended up being another smash hit and ended up winning the Tony for Best Revival. The success of the revival spewed Ryan Murphy on to make a deal with Crowley and Netflix to make a film adaptation of the stage play with the exact same cast from the revival, as well as Joe Mantello signed on to direct again. That's almost unheard of, hiring the exact same cast and director from a stage play for a film adaptation. But now that I've seen The Boys in the Band, the movie, I can understand why they wouldn't want to change a thing, because what they had on stage must have been like lightning in a bottle. I'm really annoyed that I never got to see it, and that's probably why they wanted to make a film adaptation of it, so that more gay men around the world could watch this really beautiful story. The Boys in the Band is set in 1968 New York, a time when to be gay was still to be subjected to harassment and persecution. People were probably a little bit more tolerant of gays at the time, but it was something that was still sort of kept behind closed doors. Michael, played by Jim Parsons, a gay middle-aged screenwriter, is hosting a party for his caustic friend Harold, played by Zachary Quinto, at his apartment, and invites a selection of other homosexuals over for a night of laughter, conversation, drinking, and dancing. But when an unexpected visitor called Alan, played by Brian Hutchinson, shows up at Michael's apartment, the party takes an interesting turn. I had such a great time with The Boys in the Band. As an openly gay man, I am the target demographic, but what I really loved about this film was just how resonant it was. This film, or the stage play, was written back in the late 60s. But within these 9 well-written, complex, and compelling characters were universal issues that the modern gay man can still relate to. This film does show how far we have come in terms of progress. I mean, look at me, you're watching some big flamboyant homosexual talking about movies in a crop top on YouTube. Couldn't do this back in the 60s, could ya? But it also highlights a lot of the core issues that a lot of gay men still struggle with to this day. Watching this, I could see myself in certain characters, or I could see some of my gay friends in some of the other characters. Regardless of what decade you were born in, the recurring struggles of gay life are ever present. As gays, we see value in youth and physical beauty, which is well explored with the constant objectification of Charlie Carver's character, the cowboy. We struggle with self-esteem. Many of the characters in this movie are obsessed with physical beauty and their own vanity. Gay shame is still a prominent struggle. There's a character in this who is married with 2 kids and still won't accept the truth of who he is, and he projects his insecurities onto the effeminate character Emery because he just can't accept his own truth and Emery can. Anxiety is another common struggle of gay men, just like Matt Boomer's character Donald. And what might be the most ahead of its time plot thread is the relationship between Andrew Rannells Larry and Tuck Watkins Hank. I don't think they ever used the term open relationship in this film, but that's essentially the gist of it. Larry wants to sleep around and Hank wants more of a commitment. And nowadays for gays, open relationships are very common. All of these topics, as well as numerous others, are addressed with such raw honesty, which is why I found this movie so engaging. It's honest to the point where it gets ugly. The real humanity comes from the uglier stuff, and it's so well written, it's laced with wit, and the cast is all on top form. Everyone is so well cast. This might be my favorite Jim Parsons performance ever. I mean, it was great to see him play sleazy in Hollywood. It was a complete 180 from the Sheldon Cooper that we all know him as. But here, as Michael, he's prickly and sassy, and he's imbued with so much deep-rooted sadness. There's one scene towards the end where he breaks down and reveals so much self-loathing, and I was floored by it. Definitely my favorite performance of this ensemble, but every one of the cast gets what you might call their moment. Mostly when they're playing this game where they have to make a phone call to the person that they truly loved. That's the catalyst which brings a lot of the repressed feelings to the surface. I mean, everybody in this is great, but the ones that I was particularly impressed by were Michael Benjamin Washington, Tuck Watkins, Brian Hutchinson, Andrew Rannells, and Robin DeJesus. I hope I said his name right. It could be pronounced a little bit differently. One thing that movie adaptations of stage plays often struggle with is transitioning from one medium into the next. Some stories are just better suited for a theatre. But Joe Mantello's direction as a film director is sublime. You have to remember, he's also the person that directed the stage revival. Even though the majority of the film is predominantly set in Michael's apartment, the transition does feel pretty seamless. This does feel like a movie. He builds upon what he had with his stage play with cinematic techniques, like he opens the film with a montage of vignettes of all the characters, little clips of what they do in their everyday lives, just gives you a little bit of insight as to who these characters are before the plot kicks off. And then later on in the movie, he utilizes flashbacks, particularly during the phone call scenes, which helps to punctuate the ideas of lost love or forbidden love or sometimes unrequited love. It's all very erotic and beautiful, and I thought it was very well implemented. And it also texturizes each of the characters' own personal backstories. The production design by Judy Becker is fantastic. Same goes with the costumes. If I had to list some negatives, I would say that some of the characters do feel a little bit like set dressing, such as Charlie Carver's cowboy character, although the last line that he gets really does make, the reason for his character being there a little bit more poignant. Also, the film barely touches upon what it's like to be a double minority for the characters of Bernard and Emery. What's it like being both gay and black, as well as being Latinx and gay in this period in time. The film doesn't go that deep with it, and I would have liked a little bit more exploration of this. And also, the final shot of this film I thought was a little bit obtuse. I didn't quite fully get what it was. I won't spoil it for you guys, but if you guys have seen The Boys in the Band, what did you guys think of that last shot? Do you get it? What do you think it means? Let me know in that comment section down below. So let's ask those three questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? Absolutely. I really enjoyed this film. It really spoke to me. I want to watch it again and again and again. Question number 2, do I recommend it for you guys? Yes, particularly any gay men out there. I guarantee you, out of all the 9 characters in this movie, you will find someone to connect with. As for non-LGBTQ people, I would still say give it a watch. It's got some great performances, and it's so sharply written. It's a real beautiful film. Give it a watch. And question number 3, what score am I going to give out of 10? The Boys in the Band really worked for me. It's funny, beautiful, ugly, raw, moving, and it transcends the era of which it was written for. I'm going to go as far as saying it's probably in my top 10 favorite gay films of all time. So I'm going to give The Boys in the Band a score of 8.5 out of 10. But as always, guys, this is just one queen's opinion. I want to hear from you guys. Are you guys excited for The Boys in the Band? Will you be watching? Have you guys seen this film? What did you think of it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? And if you're a gay man, how did you personally respond to it? What score would you give out of 10? Whatever you guys have to say, let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want more movie and TV content just like this, don't forget to click subscribe, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Letterboxd, all in the video description down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Effield, and I'll see you next time.